So you think you know lost media, heard the tales they always tell, but there's more beneath the static, stranger stories time won't sell. Mr. Sean is here, uncovering lore from cellar shelves to old trapdoors. It's lesser known lost media friend, where the weirdest tales begin and end.
Hey, old and new viewers alike, welcome to the channel and welcome to Lesser Known Lost Media, episode 100. Wow, I can't believe we've made 100 of these things. If you're new to the channel, this is a show where I, Mr. Sean, cover pieces of lost media that just don't see their time in the spotlight here on YouTube. You know, everybody covers Saki Sanabashi, Slamfest 99, A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, etc., etc. If you've recently gotten into lost media, you've probably seen the same entries, the same 10 entries, a dozen times already, but here we cover ones that you don't hear about as often because we want to bring a spotlight to the lesser known. That's kind of the theme of this channel. Now, I started this series 2 years ago when I was still trying to figure out what my channel was all about, because again, this channel was literally just a way for me to advertise my custom miniatures, which I do still make and sell over on eBay and Mercari, but this series is what kind of made this channel take on a life of its own. It's what finally got me all the way to 1,000 subscribers last October, and you know, we've been working at it ever since, but this series is the lifeblood of this channel, and it's so cool that we've gotten to 100 episodes. So if you're a repeat viewer, you've heard this 100 times before, but if you're new, how this works is we start with 4 family-friendly, safe-for-work pieces of lost media, take a brief break, and then we end with a 5th, spicier piece. Now guys, you're also going to want to stay till the very end of the video where I announce who has won our 100th episode giveaway of my custom miniature, Nuke Starkiller. Yes, if you are new to the channel, you might not know this, but last week, I announced that there was a giveaway that would be announced this week for this custom, one-of-a-kind Nuke Starkiller miniature of my own design. So, at the end of the episode, we will be announcing who has won that. Now, I do have a request for all of you longtime viewers out there. Please, in the comments, list what your favorite piece of lost media that I have covered at some point in these 100th episodes. Please comment what your favorite one was. That's what I'd love to know. So guys, now for the 100th time, let's get to that God bloop. Our first piece today is slightly more well-known than a lot of pieces covered on this channel, but it was suggested and requested many times by longtime viewer Scooby-Jew678, and that is Batman Fights Dracula, a lost unofficial Filipino comedy parody film from 1967. So Batman Fights Dracula was a 1967 Filipino parody comedy film directed by Leody M. Diaz and written by Bert R. Mendoza and produced by Leah Productions, starring Ying Albalos and Dante Rivero as the titular characters respectively. As the name suggests, the movie centers around a battle between cult figures Batman and Dracula, and is considered by many to be one of the most sought-after lost Asian films of all time. Very little information on the film has surfaced other than the standard production details such as cast and crew, although at least one person has undertaken a personal search effort for the film, which ultimately went unfulfilled. That is until a great amount of new information surfaced on the Filipino blog Pelikula ATBP. So the story of this film, the plot, the story concerned the mad scientist named Dr. Zorba, who, after repeatedly being defeated by Batman, finds a way to resurrect the wicked Count Dracula, control him, and even make him stronger, rendering him invincible towards traditional ways of killing him, such as Christian crosses. After tracking down Zorba at his underground fortress, Ruben, a character based on the existing sidekick Robin, and the beautiful Marita manage to kill the evil doctor by somehow turning the vampire against him. So, what is available? Well, since most of the films of its production company, Leah Productions, were destroyed when Ultra Vista Cinema was burned down, a print of Batman Fights Dracula may have been one of the victims of that. If this is true, the film will probably be lost forever unless one day a collector comes up with a copy. Although the blog post clarifies the plot and provides a great number of photos, none of the footage from Batman Fights Dracula has been found. A similar-looking film titled James Batman is often mistaken as being Batman Fights Dracula, but James Batman is a different movie altogether, though it is a Batman parody film from the Philippines. Notably, this film marks the second of 3 films that center around a showdown between Batman and Dracula, the first being Andy Warhol's Batman Dracula, and the third being the 2005 animated film The Batman vs. Dracula. Again, guys, if you are at all a fan of Lost Media, you may have likely heard of this one before. It is slightly more popular than the things we normally cover on this channel, though it is one of the ones that I do truly wish would be found. And since I did want to do a lot of fan suggestions this time, I figured, hey, why not? It's here at the beginning, so it's a little less obscure than the rest of the fare, but thank you Scooby-Jew678 for being a viewer and for making your suggestion. Okay guys, so number 2 also technically sort of maybe at least inspired by a fan suggestion. User Reverse Shin asked me to look up some missing Wii 2 maps of a Just Dance game, and while I've seen other YouTubers, I did find other YouTube videos covering it. I was not able as of yet to find actual sources for me to cover this same thing, but in my search, I did find some Just Dance Lost Media. So at number 2, we have Just Dance 2016 and Just Dance Unlimited, which are Lost E3 2015 beta builds of rhythm games from 2016. So Just Dance 2016 is the 17th installment in the Just Dance franchise. Announced on June 15th, 2015 at E3 2015, the game was released on October 20th of 2015 in the United States and on October 22nd, 2015 for the rest of the world, except for the United Kingdom, where the release date was October 23rd of 2015, because, why be like everyone else? Just Dance Unlimited is a paid subscription service which was announced alongside Just Dance 2016 at E3 2015. The service allows players to subscribe to a streaming service that allows one to play songs from past games, as well as exclusive songs only available on Unlimited. Each song is streamed directly to your console, albeit with some buffering. So, menu and gameplay. So during the E3 build, the menu and gameplay for Just Dance 2016 was very different. The scoring system was similar to Just Dance 2014 and Just Dance 2015. The songs were not listed in alphabetical order, the game does not have background sound for the menu during the E3 presentation, and during the scoring screen, the avatars were in front of a square background of each player's color. The World Video Game Challenge menu had a different design. The icon showed a screenshot from the player's auto dance instead of the background from the original routine, and its album coach was displayed at the top, similar to the song's selection menu. The gameplay featured similar gold move feedbacks as those from Just Dance 2015. However, in the final version, a different effect that resembles a firework is used. Now, as for the Unlimited service differences, a Just Dance Unlimited beta gameplay was shown in the presentation of South Park: The Fractured But Whole. As seen at E3 2015, the songs were not listed in alphabetical order. In a beta screenshot, it can be seen that the service was supposed to have a favorite section, similar to Just Dance Now. This was later added in Just Dance 2017. The cover shown in the Katy Perry playlist was different from the final version. Some songs that were seen in E3 2015 beta build were not released in the main release, but some were later released 1 month after launch, and others are not available in the game to this day. Dark Horse was seen in the Katy Perry playlist, despite not being featured in it in the final version. It was later released on October 29th of 2020. Now, while some files of this build were found in the archives for the PlayStation 4 version, beyond that, the versions showcased at E3 2015 have never surfaced. So again, we have what's essentially a beta build, and yes, a lot of things do change by the time we get to the final product, but it is interesting that, there was a version of this, we could see it, and now there's a lot that's just we never got and that was very different. And I think people, it's just the idea of having as much as possible content-wise of something we love. And if you love Just Dance, which is actually something my wife and I use as a workout, then yeah, you'd probably want as many versions and as many different variations as possible to totally round out that full experience. Again, thank you to Reverse Shin for your suggestion. Sorry I could not find what you were specifically asking about. At number 3, we have a piece suggested by Sunny Yellow YouTuber called Come to Your Senses, a lost Nickelodeon game show pilot, date unknown. So, Come to Your Senses is a game show pilot made by Nickelodeon possibly in the early 1990s. It ultimately wasn't greenlit for a full series because it made kids look stupid. Now, the premise was the pilot utilized the main 5 senses, touch, hearing, smell, sight, and taste, in order for the contestants to achieve the right answer. Outside of this, not much else is known. As to the availability, currently no footage or images from the pilot have resurfaced, with the only proof of its existence being a mention from How to Nickelodeon, a style guide made in 1992 that was given to Nickelodeon employees. You know, in the course of television, there's probably so many shows, specifically game shows, that get, a pilot made, never get greenlit, and we never hear about them. But I think the thing that makes this one really interesting, despite the almost complete lack of information we have about it, is that it was in a style guide, mentioned in a style guide given to Nickelodeon employees, meaning that at the time the style guide was made, so somewhere around the 90s, it was thought that this was going to be important enough to be referenced to your actual employees in your company. So interesting that it just never happened. And since that last piece was not very long, I decided to take another suggestion from Sunny Yellow YouTuber, and this one is Null Points, a lost unreleased Gemini album from 2003. So, Null Points was the possible title of an album produced by British pop duo Gemini, consisting of Chris Crombie and Gemma Abbey. The proposed name refers to Gemini's infamous performance of the song Crybaby at the Eurovision Song Contest of 2003, which earned the United Kingdom null points. Alas, poor sales of Crybaby prompted their record label to cancel the album's release. So let's get a little background on this. Chris Crombie and Gemma Abbey first formed a band with a third female member during their stint at a Liverpool college. Originally named the band Tri-City after Crombie's incident with a Tri-City fridge. Or is it Tricity? I don't know. Crombie and Abbey later retitled it Gemini, a derivation of Gem and I. The duo experienced humble beginnings in the late 1990s and early 2000s, working for clients like Martin Isherwood. It was in early 2003 when Isherwood contacted Gemini, inviting them to record his song Crybaby for the Eurovision Song Contest of 2003. Though Crombie and Abbey found the song's lyrics to be cheesy, they agreed to participate. Shortlisted as one of the 4 finalists for the BBC's Song for Europe, Gemini received the majority of over 100,000 cast votes, and pipped Emily Reed's Help Me by 4 points. Now, following this, preparations were in full swing for Eurovision itself. The pair linked up with Martin O'Shea, the manager of the British band Atomic Kitten. O'Shea and Gemini's PR representative, Mike Cockayne, reportedly bragged that the duo would prevail and recommended that people prepare for a Liverpool-hosted Eurovision the following year. Some reports even claimed Gemini were joint favorites alongside Russian band Tattoo. Others, like Robin Elliott for the 9th of May 2003 issue of Ulster Star, predicted Crybaby stood little chance of winning. Nevertheless, Gemini engaged in a public tour, including an appearance on Top of the Pops and recording a diary for the BBC's Video Nation. They also embarked on producing an album to be released soon after Eurovision. With strong hype behind them, including support from Sir Paul McCartney, Abbey admitted she genuinely thought Gemini was going to win. But then there was the Eurovision disaster. The Eurovision Song Contest of 2003 occurred on the 24th of May at the Skonto Olympic Hall in Riga, Latvia. Gemini stated they received good treatment while situated in the country. However, their initial confidence soon faded during rehearsal, when they felt that the backing track was not in sequence with their rendition. To counter this, they relentlessly trained for 6 days before the contest. Isherwood, who likely would have helped fix the issues, was notably not present during the event. Worse still, Gemini was amazingly the only act in 2003 not to perform with in-ear monitors. Abby faced a further setback upon the arrival of her €15,000 dress. The outfit was revealing and bared Abby's shoulders. However, the singer was horrified to discover that her dress would also completely expose her bottom during the performance. Thus, she wore a pair of hot pants underneath to spare her dignity on stage. Ultimately, despite relentless preparation, Gemini's performance at Eurovision was nothing short of a disaster. Because of technical issues, Gemini ended up immediately off-key. According to Crombie, their monitors had mysteriously malfunctioned, forcing them to rely on the floor monitors. They never recovered and put on what The Guardian described as a dismally tuneless performance. Hence, the United Kingdom finished last out of 26 competing nations with the dreaded null points. It marked Britain's first time ranking bottom, as well as their inaugural null point performance at Eurovision since the nation's debut in 1957. Abby was visibly devastated as the results were listed out. As they conducted post-competition interviews, Gemini's dressing room ended up being vandalized. The result naturally drew great consternation in the United Kingdom. Some observers, including BBC commentator Terry Wogan, Labour MP Jeremy Corbyn, and Isherwood, all insisted the null points was Europe's response to Britain's controversial invasion of Iraq. Crombie recalled Wogan informing them before their performance that they were unlikely to score any points. Others were more scathing of the performance itself. Most notably, Lewis Walsh lamented, "It's like somebody went into Boots, found the first person they saw behind the counter, asked them if they can sing, and they said no, but they picked them anyway." The 2013 BBC Three documentary How to Win Eurovision inducted Gemini into its Hall of Shame for producing a tuneless tragedy. The poor quality performance prompted calls for the BBC to adjust their auditions and song for Europe contest, which at the time was placed in a dead time slot of Sunday afternoon. As of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024, the UK has also ranked last in 2008, 2010, 2019, and 2021. The 2021 entry of Embers by James Newman was the only other song to score null points. Despite the result and subsequent backlash, Crombie and Abby still expressed enjoying the Eurovision experience and encouraged people to buy their single. They also defended their performance during interviews for Tim Moore's 2006 book Null Points and in a 2009 Liverpool Echo article. Particularly, Crombie insisted that technical issues, disagreements between the BBC and Gemini's management, and the fact that Skonto Olympic Hall was a sports hall and not a true music stadium were all factors that contributed to the poor performance. He nevertheless called it a brilliant experience and noted that Gemini has never fallen into complete obscurity because of it. In How to Win Eurovision, Abby blamed the wrong track, a poor start, and the lack of in-ear monitors for the null points, and also insisted Tattoo were just as out of sync during their performance. Tattoo notably came in third with 160 points with Ne Ver, Ne Boysia, 3 behind winner Sertab Erener, representing Turkey with Every Way That I Can. Alas, despite their defense of the song, Crombie concluded that at the end of the day, it sounded crap. So, with all of that backstory, we now get to the lost media of it all, the album cancellation. While Eurovision itself may have been a bust, hope remained for the commercial success of Crybaby. The Guardian and Cocaine noted that the song's Eurovision failure could actually inspire sales in Britain. Initially, Crybaby only reportedly sold handfuls within most record stores during its opening week. However, other retailers reported decent sales, culminating in Crybaby reaching number 15 in the UK singles chart. This was likely spurred by Gemini's numerous public appearances, including on GMTV, an interview, and a performance at Guildfest in Guildford, Surrey. The encouraging performance gave hope that Gemini's upcoming album would still be on course for an autumn 2003 release. By June, it was roughly 50% complete, with Crombie pondering on whether to call it Null Points as a tongue-in-cheek reference. However, sales of Crybaby quickly dried up, and their record label consequently opted not to release the incomplete album. Gemini's flagging fortunes were irreversible, even with the release of their Christmas song titled Merry Christmas Baby, I Love You, the pair struggled to book gigs, with their last reportedly being New Brighton's Halloween Spooktacular. They also were forced to endure rather difficult television interviews with unsympathetic hosts to generate publicity. Eventually, even these opportunities vanished, and the band was ultimately no more by 2004. In a separate piece of lost media, the band had a website titled Gemini Online, which was never archived on the Wayback Machine. According to Isherwood, Crybaby did experience a surprising revival in popularity, especially within nightclubs. However, Gemini was unable to profit from the sales of Crybaby following a dispute with their former management company. By the time Moore interviewed the pair for Null Points, Crombie and Abbey had both settled in sales executive roles. They were still recognized for their Eurovision performance. Abbey was notably forced to quit a receptionist role at Mercedes and dyed her hair following the relentless mockery from colleagues. Now, before 2023, Crombie and Abbey led relatively quiet lives following the demise of Gemini. They occasionally appeared on television to discuss their performance, including in How to Win Eurovision. They also released Try to Love Again in 2016. In November that year, Abbey received a 30-week prison sentence suspended for 1 year and a 12-month supervision order for committing £52,000 worth of benefit fraud. Aside from this, the pair remained mostly outside of the public eye until 2023, when the band reunited for public appearances for then-host city Liverpool. Unlike in 2003, the pair were warmly received by the British public. They simultaneously released a fourth song titled Constantly. But what about the album? Well, the availability of it? Based on a search of Gemini songs on Spotify, 4 singles have been publicly released by the band: Crybaby, Merry Christmas Baby, I Love You in 2003, Try to Love Again in 2016, and Constantly in 2023. Some songs listed by Spotify and other websites erroneously includes tracks released by other bands called Gemini. Now, according to their interview in Null Points, their unreleased 2003 album was around 50% complete before their management company pulled the plug. The fate of the songs on said album is unclear, though it is possible legal wranglings with the management company has caused them to remain unreleased. This one's just pretty interesting to me because of just everything that caused it to become lost. I mean, that was a wild ride, guys. That was a little history trip. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Sunny Yellow YouTuber, for your suggestion. Alright guys, we got one hell of a spicy piece coming up for you here in a moment, but first a couple announcements. Again, this is normally where I'd announce the giveaway winner, but we're going to do that at the end of the video. So, couple announcements for the channel. One, after this video, I will be taking a break for the rest of June. June has been a pretty hard month for the channel. We've actually, since the channel's inception through almost 4 years ago now, this is the first month where we've actually lost overall members, overall subscribers. Views are down, subs are down. It's just, it's not a great time right now, so I'm going to take the rest of June off. I'm going to kind of refocus, and I'm going to, come back in July, hopefully with content that you all are going to love, and that's going to revitalize the channel. So, we're trying still to get that 2,000 subs. We're trying to get the 100,000 views this year, or just get up to 20 members and patrons. So if you're interested in that, tiers start as low as $1. With that being said, guys, let's get to that fifth spicy piece. Our spicy piece today is entitled All About Us Living and Growing Unit 2, a partially found banned Channel 4 sex education film from 2012. So, All About Us Living and Growing was a series of sex education films produced by Channel 4 in the UK, intended for educational purposes in schools. The films were part of a broader initiative to provide young people with factual, age-appropriate content on human development, relationships, and sexual health. However, the second unit of the series, Unit 2, became infamous due to the inclusion of an animated segment that led to its eventual ban in the UK. So first, an overview of the series. All About Us Living and Growing was designed to educate children about their changing bodies, relationships, and emotional health. The series aimed to present sex education in a way that was both accessible and informative, using a combination of live action and animation to explain sensitive topics. The series was widely used in schools across the UK and was praised for its comprehensive yet respectful approach to sex education. Unit 1 focused on such topics as puberty, body changes, and personal hygiene, while later units dealt with deeper subjects such as relationships, consent, and sexual health. Now the controversy, Unit 2 and the banned animated clip. Unit 2, released as part of the Living and Growing series, contained an animated segment that became the subject of major controversy and ultimately led to the film being banned in the UK. The animated clip in question depicted a graphic but highly stylized portrayal of sexual intercourse. The scene was meant to illustrate the mechanics of sex in a way that was straightforward yet not overly explicit. However, its level of detail and the way it was animated raised concerns among parents, educators, and regulators. The animated sequence in Unit 2 was meant to explain the process of sexual reproduction. However, its vivid depiction of sexual activity led to its swift condemnation by various groups, with many arguing that the content was inappropriate for children. The animation was not designed to be explicit in a pornographic sense, but was graphic enough to cause significant alarm among viewers. The animation featured anatomically accurate depictions of the human body and was detailed in a way that many felt was too mature for the target age group. Now, following its broadcast and distribution, the film faced intense public backlash. Parents, advocacy groups, and even some educators criticized Channel 4 for including the animated sequence, calling it too graphic for young audiences. The controversy escalated when UK's Broadcasting Standards Commission received numerous complaints about the film's content, and even leading to the resignation of a Wiltshire school governor. In response to the backlash, Channel 4 pulled the film from circulation, and the animated clip was removed from the series entirely. Despite its original intention to provide educational content, Unit 2 was effectively banned in the UK, and the controversy surrounding the film contributed to ongoing debates about the appropriateness of sex education in schools. The film's ban marked a turning point in how sex education films were regulated in the UK, with more emphasis placed on what was deemed acceptable for children of various age groups. Despite the controversy surrounding the animated sex clip, Unit 2 covered a range of important topics related to human development and relationships. The unit was aimed at children at an age where they were beginning to learn about puberty and human reproduction, but before they reached an age where sexual activity was a central concern. Topics included puberty and physical changes, explaining how boys' and girls' bodies change during puberty, including the development of secondary sexual characteristics. Menstruation and semen production, providing an overview of the biological processes involved in reproduction. Human reproduction, covering the basic biology of conception, pregnancy, and birth. Emotional changes, discussing the emotional aspects of growing up, including the development of sexual feelings and the importance of understanding consent and mutual respect in relationships. While the animated sequence was the focal point of the controversy, many of the other segments in Unit 2 were well received for their educational value and were seen as appropriate for the age group. So what is still available? Well, the film would have been distributed on VHS and DVD, which was the standard medium for home video at the time. Educational films like these were often made available for purchase or rental through specialized distribution channels that catered to schools, libraries, and parents seeking educational resources. It's likely that they would have been sold to educational institutions and made available to schools across the UK. The VHS or DVD is likely in possessions of schools or anybody who held onto the film after its ban. Now, there are some screenshots of Unit 2 in some articles that reported on the ban of the film, but as of now, the only footage of Unit 2 that exists is a clip uploaded to Vimeo on the 2nd of April 2024 by user 258, which seems to be filmed on a handheld device as the camera video is of low quality. In the clip, the animated section of Unit 2 that most likely resulted in its ban is shown, showing the sexual intercourse between two animated figures. Now guys, fully admitting, I watched this clip because I was interested, like what was this? And while yes, it does technically show two animated figures engaging in bedroom activities, it is not done in a way that I would say is any way erotic or provocative, and is pretty much just mechanical, and also putting it in a way that doesn't encourage it, but doesn't demonize it either. And that's to me, that's fine. Again, I'm not a parent, so maybe I can see why people got kind of upset about it. But overall, I think this is the reason I picked this one. Again, no one suggested this. I found this myself, but I think it's I definitely think sex education is an important topic, and it's a sensitive topic. And the idea is that we don't want the youth of the world to be ignorant, but we also don't want to necessarily go and encourage them to do potentially harmful acts, both physically or even emotionally, as they are not ready for such things. But we need to be able to give them information in a way that is factual and neither encourages, glorifies, or demonizes in any way. We just need to be able to present them facts in a straightforward, even mechanical way, so that they have the information, and then ultimately what they decide to do with that is their business. But again, it's a very sensitive topic. It's like, well, how much is too much? And this is a great example of that. Alright guys, and now the time has come to reveal the winner of our 100th episode Nuke Star Killer miniature giveaway. And our winner is, God bloop roll please, Brandon Sheck 7647. Thank you so much to everyone who entered, and congratulations Brandon Sheck 7647 for winning. You can contact me via email so that I can get this out to you. I want to thank everybody who has been with me this entire time, and those who are just joining today for joining the Simian squad here on Mr. Sean Productions and becoming part of my Lost Media family. Guys, another announcement, because like I said, I'm taking a break after this video until the start of July. There will still be some sprinkle videos if you're into those, but one of the things I wanted to announce is that anybody who joins any tier, any membership tier, either here on the channel or over on Patreon, again, they start as low as $1 a month, will be entered in to win a signed copy of my newest edition, my newest Call of Cthulhu module, The Withering Rime, which again, we will, I have 3 copies. I have a color copy, a black and white copy, and then an editor's copy, which is the one I used when I was proofreading before publication. The Withering Rime is currently available on DriveThruRPG. Links are in the description. But again, if you are interested in winning that, be sure to join any of the tiers, starting at the $1 tier here on the channel or over on Patreon in the month of July, and you'll be entered automatically to be one of the winners of one of 3 copies of The Withering Rime. Until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Mr. Sean Productions. And remember, belief is just hope that your opinion is reality. And also, I hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.